We begin with one of the oldest mysteries in American history. In 1587, over 100 English settlers established a colony on Roanoke Island, off the coast of what is now North Carolina. The colony's governor, John White, sailed back to England for supplies. When he finally returned, 3 years later, the settlement was deserted, no signs of struggle, no bodies, nothing but the word Croatoan carved into a fence post. Was it a clue? Did the colonists assimilate with local tribes, perish from starvation, or relocate and vanish elsewhere? To this day, the fate of the lost colony of Roanoke remains unknown, an enigma that endures over 4 centuries later. Amelia Earhart's disappearance is perhaps the most famous in aviation history. The pioneering pilot, already celebrated for being the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic, vanished over the Pacific Ocean on July 2, 1937, during an ambitious flight around the world. Radio transmissions grew faint, and her Lockheed Electra was never found, despite extensive naval searches. Conspiracy theories abound. Some believe she crashed at sea. Others say she was taken prisoner by the Japanese, and a few claim she assumed a secret identity. Decades of expeditions and research have yielded tantalizing clues, but none have conclusively solved this enduring mystery. The Mary Celeste. A ghost ship discovered adrift in the Atlantic, the Mary Celeste provides a classic maritime puzzle. In December 1872, another vessel spotted the seemingly intact brigantine with sails set, but no soul on board. The cargo was untouched, provisions aplenty, and the crew's personal items remained. Yet the captain, his family, and the entire crew had vanished without a hint of struggle. Theories range from mutiny to piracy, from storms to accidental poisoning leading to a panic. Despite numerous investigations and a heap of lore, no definitive answer has ever explained why the Mary Celeste's crew abandoned their perfectly seaworthy ship. D.B. Cooper. On November 24, 1971, a man calling himself Dan, later D.B. Cooper, hijacked a Boeing 727 flying from Portland to Seattle, claiming to have a bomb in his briefcase. After receiving $200,000 in ransom and parachutes, he jumped out of the plane into a stormy night over southwestern Washington. Neither he nor most of the ransom money was ever found, sparking one of the longest and most exhaustive FBI investigations in history. To this day, no confirmed trace of Cooper has surfaced, and his true identity and fate remain a tantalizing enigma. Did he survive the jump, or did he vanish into legend? The Sodder Children. In the early hours of Christmas Day, 1945, a fire broke out at the Sodder family home in West Virginia. 5 of the 9 Sodder children were trapped inside, or so it seemed. After the flames died, no remains were found, and the official report concluded they had perished. But the parents, George and Jenny Sodder, suspected otherwise. Strange phone calls, sightings, and hints of foul play emerged. Were the children kidnapped? Did they escape and never return? The Sodders put up billboards seeking information for decades, but the truth behind the missing children was never definitively uncovered. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse Keepers. Off the coast of Scotland sits the Flannan Isles, where 3 lighthouse keepers vanished without a trace in December 1900. When a relief ship arrived, it found the lighthouse unmanned, meals untouched, and clocks stopped. Logs described severe storms and unusual fears before suddenly ending. Did a massive wave sweep them out to sea? Did they abandon their post to seek help? The official investigation ruled it a tragic accident, but ghost stories and supernatural rumors persist, cementing the Flannan Isles' disappearance as one of the eeriest maritime legends in British history. Henry Hudson, an English sea explorer, sought a northwest passage through the Arctic to Asia. His final voyage in 1610 took him into the vast bay later named Hudson Bay. After a harsh winter and tense relations on board, his crew mutinied in June 1611. Hudson, his son, and a few loyal sailors were set adrift in a small boat, never to be seen again. Whether they perished in the unforgiving Arctic waters or encountered hostile encounters on shore remains unknown. Hudson's disappearance punctuated his legacy as a daring explorer, one whose ultimate fate remains forever lost to the silent, icy north. Benjamin Bathurst, a British diplomat, vanished under baffling circumstances in Prussia during the Napoleonic Wars. While traveling under an assumed name, he stopped at an inn. His travel companion saw him walk around the horses to inspect them, but Bathurst never emerged on the other side. Soldiers scoured the area, but only Bathurst's coat was found in a local forest. Rumors suggested a political murder or abduction by French agents. Others believed he suffered a mental breakdown and disappeared into anonymity. Whatever the cause, Bathurst's inexplicable vanishing act still stands as one of the 19th century's most confounding missing person cases. Theodosia Burr Alston, the daughter of controversial U.S. Vice President Aaron Burr, Theodosia Burr Alston set sail from South Carolina to New York in 1813 and was never seen again. Her ship, the Patriot, vanished without a trace. Rumors alleged pirates overran the vessel or a fierce storm sank it. Over the decades, bizarre claims arose, including a dying pirate's confession that he forced Theodosia to walk the plank. A mysterious portrait of a woman washed ashore, sparking speculation of her survival. Despite the intrigue and her father's desperate search, Theodosia's fate remains unknown, casting a melancholy shadow over one of America's earliest political dynasties. Ambrose Bierce was a famous American journalist, short story writer, and satirist known for his biting wit. In 1913, at age 71, he traveled to Mexico amid the chaos of the Mexican Revolution, drawn by a journalist's curiosity. His last letters mentioned heading to the front lines with Pancho Villa. After that, silence. Rumors swirled that he was executed, died in battle, or simply slipped away. Bierce had once written, "Disappearances are my specialty." In the end, his real-life vanishing act became his final, enduring tale, one that keeps historians and literary fans alike pondering his fate more than a century later. Percy Fawcett, a legendary British explorer, Lieutenant Colonel Percy Fawcett, was convinced of a hidden city. He called it Sea, deep in the Amazon. In 1925, Fawcett ventured into the Brazilian jungle with his son Jack and a friend. They never returned. Explorers who followed found no sign of the trio, fueling rumors of hostile tribes, starvation, or disease. Some believed Fawcett had chosen to stay and live among indigenous people, others that he was killed and his remains lost. The quest for the lost city ignited imaginations and multiple rescue expeditions, but none solved the puzzle, leaving Fawcett's disappearance woven into Amazonian legend. Big band leader Glenn Miller was one of America's most celebrated musicians. During World War II, he joined the U.S. military to entertain troops. On December 15, 1944, he boarded a small aircraft from England to France. The plane vanished over the English Channel without a distress call. Official investigations suggested mechanical failure or poor weather. Conspiracy theories, however, claimed sabotage or accidental friendly fire. Yet, no conclusive evidence surfaced. Miller's disappearance remains one of music's great tragedies, silencing the trombonist at the height of his fame and leaving fans to wonder how many more hits he could have created. Paula Jean Welden was an 18-year-old college student in Vermont who went for a hike on the Long Trail one Sunday afternoon and never returned. Despite a large-scale search involving police, locals, and even help from neighboring states, no solid evidence emerged. One witness claimed to have seen her on the trail, but beyond that, she seemed to vanish into thin air. Her disappearance sparked debate over the effectiveness of local law enforcement, eventually leading to the formation of the Vermont State Police. The Paula Jean Welden mystery remains unsolved, a chilling reminder of how quickly someone can vanish in plain sight. Jean Spangler was a young Hollywood actress and dancer who left her Los Angeles home in 1949, telling her sister-in-law she had a night shoot on a film set. She never came back. Days later, police discovered her purse in Griffith Park. A cryptic note inside mentioned Kirk and a doctor, fueling speculation about secret affairs or a dangerous operation. Rumors even tied the name Kirk to actor Kirk Douglas, though he denied knowing her. Jean's disappearance also revived mob-related suspicions, as she was once linked to a gangster. The tangle of Hollywood glamour and possible underworld connections has kept her case alive in true crime lore. Michael Rockefeller, son of New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller, was an enthusiastic explorer and art collector. In 1961, while collecting indigenous artifacts in remote Dutch New Guinea, his catamaran overturned. He attempted to swim to shore, leaving behind a companion who was later rescued. Rockefeller, however, vanished. Authorities scoured the region, but only rumors emerged. Some believed he drowned. Others speculated he was taken in by or met a tragic fate with a local tribe. Conspiracies even claimed he chose to remain hidden. To this day, Michael Rockefeller's disappearance stands as one of the most enigmatic chapters in modern exploration. The Beaumont Children. On a bright Australia day in 1966, siblings Jane, 9, Arna, 7, and Grant, 4, Beaumont took a short trip to Glenelg Beach in Adelaide. They never came home. Multiple witnesses reported seeing them that day, sometimes in the company of a tall, thin man. Despite intense nationwide coverage and massive investigations, not a single lead conclusively solved the case. Their parents lived the rest of their lives chasing rumors and potential sightings. The disappearance changed how Australians supervised children and exposed a darker undercurrent in suburban life. It remains one of Australia's most infamous and tragic cold cases. Harold Holt, the Prime Minister of Australia, loved the sea. On a December day in 1967, he went swimming at Cheviot Beach near Portsea, Victoria, and vanished beneath the waves. Despite a massive search operation, no remains were ever recovered. The official verdict was drowning, but conspiracy theories sprang up, from abduction by a Chinese submarine to faking his own death. While most consider it a tragic accident involving strong currents, Holt's high-profile status and the absence of a body have kept the rumors alive. Today, his name endures in popular culture, including the famously ironic Harold Holt Swim Centre in Melbourne. Jim Thompson, known as the Thai Silk King, revitalized Thailand's silk industry in the 1950s and 60s. In 1967, while vacationing in Malaysia's Cameron Highlands, he went for an afternoon walk and never returned. His disappearance ignited a sweeping search, but no definitive trace was found. Possibilities ranged from a jungle animal attack to a kidnapping or political assassination. Thompson's status as a former U.S. intelligence operative during World War II only fueled speculation of espionage. Even his sister's suspicious death shortly after added intrigue. The charismatic businessman's vanishing remains a puzzle, woven into the rich tapestry of Southeast Asian legend. Sean Flynn, son of Hollywood actor Errol Flynn, was an adventurous photojournalist covering the Vietnam War. In 1970, while traveling in Cambodia with journalist Dana Stone, the pair were abducted by Khmer Rouge or possibly Viet Cong forces. Despite witness reports and rumored sightings, they were never seen again. Various theories suggest they were executed or died trying to escape. Flynn's celebrity status brought international attention to the harsh realities faced by war correspondents. Decades later, remains suspected to be his were tested, but never conclusively identified. Sean Flynn's fate underscores the perils journalists face in global conflict zones. Oscar Zeta Acosta was a prominent Chicano activist, lawyer, and writer immortalized as Dr. Gonzo and Hunter S. Thompson's book Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. In 1974, Acosta traveled to Mexico. Shortly afterward, he vanished without explanation. Thompson later said Acosta might have been killed in a drug dispute, while others believe he ran afoul of corrupt officials. Known for his larger-than-life personality and radical views, Acosta's disappearance only magnified his mythic status. Despite sporadic rumors of sightings, no definitive evidence of his death or survival emerged. Today, Oscar Zeta Acosta remains a fascinating enigma in literary and political lore. Richard John Bingham, the 7th Earl of Lucan, was a charismatic British aristocrat with a high-stakes gambling habit. On November 7, 1974, the family's nanny was found murdered. and Lord Lucan's wife was attacked. Lucan vanished immediately afterward. His abandoned car was later discovered with incriminating evidence. Some theories suggest he fled to Africa or India, aided by wealthy friends, while others suspect suicide. Rumored sightings spanned decades from Australia to South Africa, but he never resurfaced publicly. Officially declared dead in 2016, Lord Lucan's disappearance remains one of Britain's most sensational mysteries, blending tragedy, privilege, and endless speculation. Jimmy Hoffa, the influential Teamsters Union leader, disappeared from a Detroit area restaurant parking lot in 1975. Ties to organized crime and a reputation for defiance pointed to a mob-related killing, but no evidence confirmed his death or revealed his body's location. From rumors of being buried under Giant Stadium to alleged gangster confessions, Hoffa's fate remains one of America's most enduring cold cases. The FBI investigated for decades, digging up various sites in vain. Hoffa's story symbolizes the tangled intersection of labor unions, politics, and the criminal underworld, and stands as one of the 20th century's most iconic disappearances. Frederick Valentich was a 20-year-old pilot flying over Bass Strait in Australia on October 21, 1978, when he reported a strange aircraft hovering above him. Radio transmissions revealed his confusion about its appearance. "It isn't an aircraft." Then contact was lost. No wreckage was found, and no definitive explanation emerged. Some believe he crashed into the sea while disoriented. Others insist it was an alien encounter, especially given Valentich's interest in UFOs. The transcript remains eerie and unresolved. Today, the Valentich case endures as one of aviation's strangest mysteries, fueling debates on everything from pilot error to extraterrestrial possibilities. Etan Patz was a 6-year-old boy living in New York City's Soho district when he walked to his school bus stop alone for the first time and never returned. His disappearance on May 25, 1979, shocked the nation and spurred new awareness of missing children, leading to photos on milk cartons. Decades of investigations and media appeals followed, though Pedro Hernandez was later convicted of Etan's murder. The lack of physical evidence left lingering doubts in some minds. Etan's case remains a watershed moment in child safety, forever changing how communities respond to missing children's alerts and investigations. In 1979, 5 friends from Hawaii ventured out on a small fishing boat named the Sarah Joe. A sudden storm swept them away, and despite extensive searches, no trace was found. Nearly a decade later, the boat was discovered on a remote atoll over 2,000 miles away. Even more baffling was a shallow grave nearby containing the partial remains of one crew member and a peculiar paper with Chinese characters. No sign of the other 4 men was ever uncovered. The Sarah Joe incident remains a mind-bending maritime mystery that defies easy explanation, raising questions about survival, ocean currents, and chance. Dorothy Harriet Camille Arnold, a wealthy New York socialite, vanished in December 1910 while shopping in Manhattan. She simply never came home. Her father privately hired Pinkerton detectives, believing Dorothy might have eloped or been abducted. Newspapers speculated wildly about suicides, secret pregnancies, or even murder within the family, but no firm evidence emerged. Dorothy's disappearance captivated the city. She was well educated, financially secure, and had no obvious reason to run. Even as decades passed, no sign of her body or a verifiable sighting turned up. Her case remains a classic vanished without a trace tale in early 20th century America. 19-year-old Tara Calico left her home in New Mexico to go on a routine bike ride and never returned. A few months later, a Polaroid photo found in a Florida parking lot showed a young woman and boy bound with duct tape. Tara's family believed the girl in the photo might be her. Despite the FBI examining the picture and multiple investigations, no conclusive link was established. Over the years, new leads emerged, with some claiming local involvement and cover-ups. Yet, Tara's fate remains a mystery. Her case underscores the power of a single haunting image to both intrigue and torment those searching for answers. On June 7, 1992, friends Susie Streeter and Stacy McCall celebrated their high school graduation before heading to Susie's home in Springfield, Missouri, where her mother, Cheryl Levitt, also lived. The next morning, all three women were gone. The house showed no sign of a struggle, only a broken porch light and some scattered personal items. Police initially believed they left voluntarily, but soon suspected foul play. Despite thousands of leads, no trace of them has been discovered. Their disappearance remains a grim hallmark of unsolved cases in the Ozarks, leaving behind only questions about what truly happened that night. Richey Edwards was the guitarist and lyricist for the Welsh rock band Manic Street Preachers. Known for his intense persona and struggles with mental health, Edwards vanished on February 1, 1995. His car was later discovered near the Severn Bridge, a notorious suicide spot, leading many to assume he took his life. Yet, numerous reported sightings over the years kept the case open. Officially declared presumed dead in 2008, his status remains a subject of debate among fans. Edwards' mysterious disappearance has become a rock legend woven into the band's legacy and the broader lore of artists gone before their time. Asha Degree was just 9 years old when she vanished from her home in Shelby, North Carolina, during the early hours of Valentine's Day 2000. Reports emerged of motorists seeing a young girl walking along the highway before she disappeared into nearby woods. Her backpack was found buried over a year later, adding to the mystery. Family and investigators remain puzzled as Asha had no clear motive to run away. Despite repeated searches and public pleas, no breakthrough has been made. Her disappearance remains deeply unsettling, an unexplained case of a child walking off into the night and never returning. Sneha and Philip was a medical intern living in Lower Manhattan. She was last seen on September 10, 2001, shopping in a department store. Initially listed as a victim of the September 11 World Trade Center attacks, her case took a turn when investigators questioned whether she was actually in the Twin Towers. Personal struggles, relationship strains, and reported infidelities clouded the inquiry. Eventually, a court declared her a September 11 victim, But doubts persist. Did Sneha die heroically amid the chaos, or did she use the tragedy to vanish? Her disappearance intertwines with one of the most traumatic events in modern history. Bison Dealey, formerly NBA player Brian Williams, retired at the height of his career to explore the world. In 2002, he set sail near Tahiti with his girlfriend, Serena Carlin, and his brother, Miles Dubourd. They never returned. Dubourd resurfaced alone, claiming the others died in freak accidents at sea. But his conflicting stories and the discovery of the boat's suspicious condition prompted a manhunt. Dubourd fled, eventually dying of an apparent overdose, taking his secrets with him. With no definitive proof of what transpired, the fate of Bison Dealey and Serena Carlin remains a chilling maritime mystery bound to unanswered questions. Maura Murray was a 21-year-old nursing student who crashed her car on a rural road in New Hampshire's White Mountains in February 2004. By the time authorities arrived, she was gone. In the days prior, she exhibited unusual behavior, withdrawing money and telling professors she'd missed class due to a family emergency, which was untrue. Speculations run from foul play to Maura intentionally running away to start a new life. Armchair detectives and online forums scrutinize every clue, but no definitive answers have emerged. Maura's disappearance stands as one of America's most perplexing modern missing person mysteries, sparking endless debate and investigation. Natalie Holloway was an 18-year-old Alabama native celebrating her high school graduation in Aruba when she vanished on May 30, 2005. She was last seen leaving a nightclub with a local Dutch teen, Joran van der Sloot, and his friends. Despite international media coverage and extensive searches, no trace of Natalie was found. Van der Sloot provided conflicting accounts and was later involved in other criminal cases, though never conclusively tied to Natalie's disappearance. The case received overwhelming publicity, highlighting complexities in foreign jurisdictions and the heartbreak of families seeking justice abroad. Natalie remains officially missing, her story a stark warning about travel safety and hidden dangers. Brian Schaefer, a medical student at Ohio State University, went out with friends on April 1, 2006 to celebrate spring break. Surveillance footage showed him entering a Columbus bar, but not leaving. A severe storm hampered search efforts, and no reliable sightings emerged. The bar's exits were monitored by cameras, making his disappearance especially baffling. Rumors circulated about a prank gone wrong, foul play, or even that he slipped away to start a new life. But family and friends insist he'd never leave them in the dark. Brian Schaefer's case endures as one of America's most puzzling urban vanishings. 3-year-old Madeleine McCann disappeared from a holiday apartment in Praia da Luz, Portugal, on May 3, 2007, while her parents dined nearby. The global media storm that followed was unprecedented, with photos of her distinctive eye markings circulated worldwide. Investigations spanned multiple countries, but leads fizzled. Suspicions and false sightings abounded, and controversies arose around the parents' potential involvement, though they were never charged. Years later, new suspects and renewed inquiries have emerged, but the outcome remains uncertain. Madeline's case has become a symbol of international attention on missing children, underscoring the agony of parents seeking answers. 19-year-old Brandon Swanson accidentally drove his car into a ditch on a gravel road near Marshall, Minnesota, after a night out celebrating the end of the college term. Calling his parents for help, he said he saw lights from a nearby town, but when they arrived, they couldn't locate him. The phone suddenly cut off after Brandon exclaimed, "Oh shit!" A massive search found his car, but no sign of him. Investigators combed fields, ditches, and rivers, yet each lead ended in frustration. His disappearance and that final phone call remain eerily unsolved, prompting endless speculation in local and online communities. Susan Powell was a mother of two in West Valley City, Utah. In December 2009, her husband, Josh Powell, said he left her at home to take their sons on a midnight camping trip. Susan was never seen again. Suspicions grew as Josh's behavior became erratic. An explosive twist occurred in 2012 when Josh killed himself and the couple's two children in a deliberate house fire. Susan's body has never been found. Many believe Josh murdered her and hid the evidence. Her disappearance remains an unsettling example of domestic tragedy, heartbreak, and unresolved questions that haunt loved ones left behind. One of the biggest aviation mysteries of the 21st century occurred on March 8, 2014, when Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 vanished en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The plane carried 239 passengers and crew. Radar data showed it veered off course, traveling hours across the Indian Ocean. Despite an unprecedented multinational search, only scattered debris washed ashore years later, thousands of miles from the presumed crash site. The cause ranging from mechanical failure to hijacking or pilot suicide remains fiercely debated. The massive scope of modern tracking systems contrasts sharply with the flight's fate, reminding the world that the oceans can still keep deadly secrets. Lars Middank was a 28-year-old German tourist vacationing on Bulgaria's Black Sea coast. After a minor altercation injured his ear, he acted increasingly paranoid, telling his mother over the phone he felt unsafe. Security camera footage at Varna Airport captured Lars sprinting from the terminal, jumping a fence, and disappearing into the surrounding woods. Despite searches, he was never found. Friends and family suspect a mental health crisis triggered by medication, but theories range from foul play to a breakdown caused by an unknown threat. The haunting airport video of Lars running for his life remains one of Europe's most perplexing missing person cases. Rico Omar Harris was a former Harlem Globetrotter with a promising basketball career who battled personal challenges. In October 2014, he left Southern California on a road trip to Seattle to start a new chapter with his fiancée. His car was found abandoned on a desolate stretch of road in Northern California. Police discovered a cell phone video showing Rico seemingly disoriented. A massive search turned up footprints, but no final answers. Some theorize he succumbed to the elements or foul play. Others wonder if he intentionally disappeared. Harris's towering presence and athletic achievements make his vanishing all the more unsettling. Emanuela Orlandi was a 15-year-old Vatican City resident and the daughter of a Vatican employee. One day in 1983, after attending a music lesson in Rome, she never returned home. Multiple theories emerged, from mafia involvement and international ransom plots to conspiracies involving high-ranking Vatican officials. Various purported sightings and unverified leads have surfaced over the decades, including cryptic tips implicating the Vatican Bank or the notorious Banda della Magliana gang. Despite the Orlandi family's tireless campaigning and multiple investigations, Emanuela's fate remains elusive. Her case endures as one of Italy's most controversial disappearances, entangled with faith, power, and secrecy.